There you are, Dad. One owner from new. You should find everything, the insignia and all should be correct.
Don't touch it.
No, we wouldn't dare. It's so crowded inside there, it's easy to be out. On the left, a replica, costing £9,000, but pretty good, pretty good. On the right, to satisfy Archie Graham, who flow those, that's actually a 616 Squadron Meteor, a real one costing £2,000. Something illogical about that, but still. Apparently 616 Squadron, which Jim was all for repainting in 609, but Archie said they might object. The old chap in the wheelchair is called Don or Bushy, but he's almost incoherent, but bless him, he does keep turning up. I have to do my... He's a little chap, here he is, down here. Maurice Vost, the new chairman, just been volunteered for the job apparently. The volunteer is better than 3 pressed men, I gather. Well, there's a whole load of people all fighting to get out. Intrepid aviator. Hello, Dad. You've escaped, I see.
I'm just going for
servicing. Right, just going for servicing. Right then, I will accompany you over there if you like. Apparently, this fine machine, it's got little patches on the wings. So that's going to be driving a tank by, in case you wonder what the noise is. The patches on the wings were to cover up the guns, and they'd be punctured when they were fired. And Jim Earnshaw was in his garage last night, apparently, at 11 o'clock, making some new ones up because the last lot blew off. If Tony Wittenbury does his stuff, we should actually get ourselves a 3-bladed propeller, which is what the hope is anyway, but that could be quite expensive. But she looks the part. Radiators for a Mark II are actually asymmetrically sized, but the head of the Belgian Air Force is in here. No one's doing a lot for him at present, but he's in here.
It's a very special day for you, your 60th anniversary. You might have heard that the Belgian Air Force started a little bit later after the war, 46, and this year is also our anniversary, our 50th anniversary. And I think that we must be very grateful to all of you for having hosted our Belgian friends, our heroes, in those days, in this period, because they were those who started our Air Force, and we are very grateful to you for all this. May I also then raise my glass to the memory of 609 Squadron and all who served with the Squadron.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. other members of the Belgian Air Force are it has been pointed out to me that I am totally outnumbered.
Came down here. Sorry, Pinky, came down.
Thank you for all this technical expertise. Could you please all stand and drink a toast to the Belgian Air Force, past and present.
Lord, ladies and gentlemen, everyone seems to have toasted most things, so I think it's my job really to wind this up a bit. First of all, to welcome the General. I think he was most generous as he's come across with his staff officers and supported on this occasion. It does reflect really the contribution the Belgian pilots made to this squadron during the war. They became an integral part of the squadron, within the ethos of the squadron. You've got to have some Belgians there, and we had them. And they did a magnificent job. As far as I was concerned, I was a relatively short time with the squadron, but in particular people like Manu Geertz, unfortunately now no longer with us, Joseph Renier, Van Leerd, and many others. And then, of course, we've always got Cheval for a bit of comic relief. And I think the association itself owes very much to these legendary figures. Well, so much the Belgian side of the guests now. We have Group Captain Thomas with us today. We're very pleased that the modern generation doesn't forget what the old guard looks like. And he's very welcome here. We're very pleased to welcome him. But I think I must be getting a little early. Group captains are getting There are very many other guests, of course, friends, members, and so on. Again, very welcome. I think it's the most magnificent assembly. Thanks to this fellow on my right. But you're all very welcome, and your presence has been much appreciated. There is one guest, however. Well, no, not a guest. Sorry about this. There is one associate member, I think. These are related to the silence. Which is Sonia Ziegler. Now, Sonia is an associate member, and of course was the wife of Frank. And Frank was more than an integral part of this squadron. Thank you, I'm sorry about that. But Frank, as you all recall, was the absolute epitome of an invaluable intelligence officer, both the squadron during the war and the squadron owes him a vast amount of appreciation, particularly today because this is the anniversary of his birthday, and to mention this, and that makes it doubly important that we remember Frank and thanks Sonia for coming along today. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished guests.
Distinguished guests. Chairman, fellow distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a tremendous honour for all us guests here to experience your 60th anniversary dinner. I think that probably more than anything else that impresses me, and we've been talking about it just now, was the great camaraderie that you feel during here today, and to see all the people who haven't seen each other for many years and who fought together during the war. The years roll away, and they could be there with a lamp swinging in Belgium, in the southern part of the UK, wherever it might be. The Air Force has changed enormously since the days that 609 were defending the country during the war. The size of the Air Force then was well over 1 million. When I joined it 30 years ago, we're down to 100,000, and now we're knocking on 50. And it is a struggle to keep things going. But I hope that the traditions and the standards that were set during the war by people such as yourself have been continued into the Air Force we have today. It is set against a very difficult backdrop, but nonetheless we feel in the Air Force today very aware of the path that you've set for us. In terms of the size of the service, I noticed that 609 Squadron served in around about 39 different bases and moved 48 times during a short history. I've been in the Air Force 30 years. I've served on 14 stations roughly, of which 10 have shut. Which gives a certain indication. Well, it's not a proud statistic, that, unfortunately. But as I say, it's been a great honour and a privilege to be here today, and I've learned an awful lot in talking to people who flew during that time, and I will take that away. The people who serve today are being enormously encouraged by the students that we have up at Elvington. They're still tremendously dedicated, they're very keen, and they do have a feeling of camaraderie, but obviously not quite the same as you experienced during the war. But certainly, what I would like to do now is for my fellow distinguished guests to drink a toast to 609 West Riding Squadron Association. 609 Squadron Association. 609 Squadron Association.
Thank you, Captain Thomas. Now, we are requested to hear a few words from a distinguished member of our squadron, Ali Atkins.
This'll be the mill in that trouble.
Mr. Chairman, my Lord, ladies and gentlemen, I have a message from our President, Wing Commander Beaumont. He says, today marks the 60th anniversary of the formation of the West Riding Squadron by Harold Peake, and also the culmination of the formidable and highly successful campaign by Jim Earnshaw, Archie Graham, and their team of enthusiasts to achieve the establishing of a 609 Spitfire replica outside the squadron room. And how appropriate to see it in the markings of George Darley, who commanded and led the squadron when 609 made its major contribution to defending the country from invasion in 1940. It is so good to have George at Elvington, and also to see such distinguished representation of our gallant Belgian friends, who contributed so much to 609's great fighting reputation. You will not have failed to notice the Spitfire's four-bladed propeller, and I am assured that action is in hand for a three-bladed propeller, which could not be got ready in time. Very regrettably, I have been prevented by ill health from joining my old friends today, but I know you will echo my thanks to Jim on his retirement from the chair for all his tremendous work and achievements on our behalf, and join me in giving a very warm welcome to the ever enthusiastic Maurice Bowes, our new chairman, and our sincere thanks to Ian Robinson and the Yorkshire Air Museum for all their tremendous support. Good luck and tally ho. B, in asking me to read this message, wanted me to make clear that it was no trivial indisposition which had prevented his coming here, but the sheer impracticality of he and his wife who are not well and facing the journey from Salisbury. B is not easily deterred, but he felt that he just couldn't do it, and we're all very sorry for that. I suggest that we, in our turn, send a message to him, and I would like to suggest these words. We here assembled on the occasion of 609's Diamond Jubilee wish to convey to you our sincere gratitude for your wonderful service to our squadron and association, and send you and Pat our heartfelt good wishes. I have one remaining duty, if you'll excuse me 1 minute. B has asked me, on his behalf, to present to Jim, from the association, this replica of a thing you will all be familiar with, but it is a tankard which is rather older than any of us here, which has been inscribed in order to show the appreciation of the association for all that Jim has done for us. So I hereby, on behalf of the Wing Commander and of our association, present it to Jim Earnshaw with our thanks.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, members of the association who have given me so much support throughout my term of office. I've had 4 exciting and exhausting years as chairman of the association. I've seen some changes which you're all perfectly aware of. We started a very successful Squadron Association newsletter, thanks to Chris Goss over there, which binds the association together. We broke with tradition and we brought the ladies into the events, despite 1 or 2 over my dead body reactions. Probably the best thing we ever did. We planned and built, thanks to Maurice Dose, in the main, the 609 Memorial Room, which is a lasting tribute to the pilots of 609. And finally, mission accomplished. You have PRA stood outside the 609 room on permanent guard, and quite rightly in the squadron coding of Squadron Leader Darley, who was our CO in 1940. And I think George would like to propose a toast to you. But in time, I would only like to say, would you please give the new chairman, Maurice Dose, all the support you've given me. He deserves it, and I'm sure that you'll be well served. And thank you for, it has been a team effort. Without you as members, nothing could have been accomplished, and today is a wonderful occasion to see a record number of people here. And probably the most satisfying part of being a chairman for the last 4 years has been the opportunity to meet so many of you on a more intimate and family terms than just meeting for a reunion meal, and what a wonderful crowd of people you are. Thank you very much indeed.
George?
Yeah.
You should come along to the microphone, George, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Can you walk along to the microphone?
Yes, I can do that.
We'll all hear you. I'll take your wine.
Sure. Well,
Don't drink it.
well, now, at present moment, you're still our chairman.
A few more moments, yes.
We are very, very many things. Now, we have, first of all, I would like to introduce to you one man whose father was the first pilot in 609 Squadron. We all know Squadron Leader Ullman.
his son is there today. May I ask him if he'd be kind enough to stand up so that we recognize him. Now, I ask you to do that because nothing would delight Stephen even more than to have, via his son, any message you would like to give to Stephen himself. And this amounts to just words and saying, so that then when James gets back home, he can rely to tell his father all the good things you said about him. So all those men, air crew, ground crew, auxiliary crew, ground crew, and RAF regular ground crew, don't be afraid to speak to him. Now, oddly enough, today, or rather yesterday, was our move to Middle Wallop, to be moved from Norfolk. And what happened? We changed. Funny. Just from Norfolk down to Middle Wallop. And we changed. For better or for worse. Well, I said one or two things that may have sounded worse, I admit. But anyway, I think the results spoke for themselves. And that is why and how that 609 Squadron, we had 85 victories. Whilst I was there at the Middle War, and we were the first Spitfire Squadron to reach the 100 mark. To revert again, straight there to the words spoken by the General from Belgian Air Force, and these are rather interesting because throughout the Battle of Britain, there were 100 in 609 Squadron, of course. There were 145 officers, pilots. Now, Belgium, 52. That's nearly half the squadron were Belgians throughout the war. I think that's the most excellent record, and I think we all have gratitude for it. I will not go on too many, except to say that there was a total of no less than 14 no less than 100 and altogether, there were no less than 14 different countries which were helping in 609. 14 different countries. Now, how can we do that? Except by, first of all, you've got to have teamwork. Now, how can you have teamwork? It's rather like trying to put more there. And in fact, I've tried to choose the football team to play in England against all the rest of the world. But the only way of doing this was to have a feeling of teamwork. And of all these 14 countries, we did get teamwork. And remember that word, teamwork. And I'm quite sure that James will be receiving quite a number of your messages, and also that we're very glad to read Seabird was asked by Ambler to write this history, and it was published in 1971, and it's been a very, very valuable book. Right. Well, gentlemen, that's all I have to say, which is quite enough, I would say. And I could only do say that after I found out that one or two people think they can make nonsense of themselves, I just decided that letters sign them for only pictures and for charity. And believe it or believe it not, but since 1950, I have signed 6,754 letters. I don't think I'll sign any more. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, George.
I just received a tie of 609 Squadron, and this is really special to me. I was honored now and privileged to have this tie, and I would also leave a small souvenir of my passage over here, and I hope you will find some place in your memorial museum there to hang it somewhere. In a headquarters, as you know, we don't have aircraft, so it's just a building, but it's an old one, and I hope you will find a place to hang it up.
Oh, thank you very much, General. Thank you, gentlemen. We will certainly make sure that this is exhibited in the 609 room. Am I right in assuming that you are under pressure to depart?
Unfortunately, yes.
We must therefore thank General Mandel and his staff for coming over to honour us with their presence today, and regretfully say farewell to them. It has been a great pleasure.
Senior pilot.
Mr. Chairman, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honoured and privileged to be here today to represent my father, who was so disappointed that he was unable to come himself and meet all his old comrades. I have a message to read out to you. To members and friends of the 609 Squadron assembled at Elvington, July 1996, from the SG Beaumont, the last of the 12 pilots who went to war under Geoffrey Ambler in September 1939. I refer to the 8 months from then until August 1940, the early days of the Battle of Britain. We were all excellent friends with our Spitfire serviced by our admirable and efficient ground crews, but we were wholly lacking in battle experience and very strangely had no CO We have never flown as a squadron. Our severe losses at Dunkirk and over the Channel in June and July were the result. In July, the squadron's luck and its competence changed dramatically when that remarkable man and first-class leader arrived as CO, George Darley. He knew what was required of a fighter squadron and how to achieve it. The survivors of the older, tired pilots, including me, were replaced. Admiral material, Frank Howell, John Bisbee, for example, remained. The squadron was to fly as a unit. No more penny packets of 2 or 3 aircraft only over a convoy with 12 or more Messerschmitts waiting for us. By August, George had created the first-class squadron, which 609 remained for the rest of the war. No DSO was ever better earned than George's. Coming down to recent times, if ever I did anything thoroughly worthwhile for 609 Squadron or its association, it was my arranging for Roland Beamont, B, one CO and no fighter pilot more distinguished, to be president, and Jim Earnshaw, the chairman. With Archie Graham as efficient and long-serving secretary, they have created the 609 Museum, which you now see. Special thanks are due to Jim for all his hard work, so very worthwhile. I shall drink the health of 609 Association when you are all at Elvington. Thank you.
The Spitfire flew over 10 minutes ago, 1 hour early. So, sorry about that, we missed it. My wife saw it though, she said, she dashed out. We were worried about the rest of the programme being put back because of these running late as usual. But we're not worried anymore because the only deadline that we couldn't control was the Spitfire flying over, and it's been gone. So sorry about that. It was only a crew thing, so it doesn't really matter. We've got a raffle. Now, if Des and Vic would start selling the raffle tickets, we're also having a bit of an auction, as we've done in the past, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But we'll double up. We'll do the raffle and the auction at the same time. That should be interesting.
Well, I just say 2 things right now. Jim blew the wind of change through the 609 Association 4 years ago, and he pulled it out the other side as a screaming tornado. Anybody that was at a last reunion at the Merion, the nice quiet little dinners we used to have, and I know there are 4 or 5 of you who haven't been to a reunion since then, you look around and see this lot, you'll see the effect he's had. The only other thing I want to say is that he's going to take a long, well-earned rest, but I have it on good authority that 8 o'clock next Monday morning he's going to be at Yorkshire Water sorting them out. So I hope he has success with that. Thanks very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's raffle money.
Oh. This is the raffle money.
Archie is far too generous with his praise. This is a team effort. I only took a small part in it. The next item on the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, is, speaking personally, a mission accomplished. Because we've had Archie and I have had a battle for 2 or 3 years now to acquire this beautiful replica of a Spitfire. We won't go into any arguments with the purists about what mark it is. We've heard enough criticism, some people who didn't help us at all in this, but it has been a team effort. We went through a lot of disillusionment. We originally had a wonderful idea of raising the £20,000 required, but we totally misread the market. We were so naive. We then tried the National Heritage Lottery Fund, which, according to their handout, is formed specifically to pay for items of national heritage. And if that isn't heritage, then you tell me what is. But we were virtually insulted by the reply from the Heritage Lottery Department, who didn't even know that the RAF Benevolent Fund was a charity. However, having accepted defeat on that, we decided that the answer, as usual, lay with the members. And in the long run, thanks to some assistance from people like Stephen Spencer and Richard Lucraft, the members themselves, you, came up with the answers. And even then, it is only there today because of the cooperation of the man who actually made it. Stuart Bailey, is he here today? He was hoping to get up to see his creation unveiled. It is the very first replica which Stuart has made, and I think it's a tribute to him. We're delighted with it, and the other vote of thanks must go, of course, to the Yorkshire Air Museum, Ian Robinson, who his cooperation and support was necessary, so that you can see it was a team effort, and I'm very proud to have played a part in it, and it'll stand there now, as far as we're concerned, for all time, to complement our memorial room, which is also something we're very, very proud of. There's plenty of rooms full of nuts and bolts, but this memorial room we old-timers thought should be put into existence so that future generations may or may not know what went on during World War II. So I will now ask the chap who took 609 by the scruff of its neck in 1940 and turned it into what we're very, very proud of, a superb fighter squadron. Squadron leader George Darley, who came to us around about Dunkirk time as commanding officer, and I would like George to come forward and unveil a Spitfire, which is coded in markings of a Spitfire which he, as I know, flew personally many, many times during the Battle of Britain. Would you please come forward, George? A big hand, please, for Group Captain George Darley. Group Captain Darley is staying alongside the replica of his beloved Spitfire for a short while, so the photographers, you may move a bit nearer, but not too far, if you wish to take photographs.
Ladies and gentlemen, any member of 609 Squadron Association, through the courtesy of Sherburn Aero Club,
point it the other way, Archie.
Turn it round.
Move the microphone away. Through the courtesy of Sherburn Aero Club, Any member of 609 Squadron Association? I have 3 flights going. Anybody wants it, come and see me quickly.
Yes, please.
Oh.
And I wouldn't want him to. He's done so good work in those things.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have had a request from 1 or 2 photographers for a group photograph of the 609 chaps who served with George in the squadron during the war years. So, we know there's about a dozen of you here among the... We know there's about a dozen of you here among the crowd. Would you please come down to the Spitfire for a photograph with George? I know there's quite a few of you here.
Okay, now I think we'll have a group photograph possibly of all the full members of the 609 Squadron Association. All full members of the 609 Squadron Association with Group Captain Darley. That includes me, I think.
And off this immediate grass area, please.
Sonia, can you breathe in, please? The last time I photographed Sonia, I was down here somewhere, which is...
Be quiet, will you?
One of the people involved, his brother has gone...
Oh, we're waiting.
You want to whip her in, eh? You want to whip her in, eh?
Yeah, I'm looking for Jim. I think that's in there.
The rig-on staff who served 609 Squadron also came from the Yorkshire area. And the event we're going to remember and mark this afternoon refers to a bombing raid on the 14th of August 1940. Apparently the German High Command had ordered that 609 Squadron should be obliterated. And in order to carry out this act, they organized an air raid. And the bombing raid took place at the airfield at Middle Wallop, where 609 Squadron were gathered. And during that raid, a bomb fell, hitting one of the hangars, and as a result, the doors were blown off the hangar, and they killed 3 airmen, all of whom came from Yorkshire, all from the Leeds area. Those men were Bob Smith,
Harry Thorley and Ken Wilson. And this afternoon, Ken Wilson's brother and sister are here with us to see us mark this occasion, and Frank Thorley, Harry Thorley's son, is going to place for us the memorial plaque. But before we do this, Betty Mulhahy is going to read for us, after saying a few words, she's going to read that memorable poem called High Flight.
Ladies and gentlemen, I feel very honoured to be here, and just to remind you that 2 months before his death, a 19-year-old pilot, John Gillespie McGee, wrote a poem which so perfectly describes both the physical and the spiritual exhilaration of flying, and he called it High Flight. And these are his words. Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamt of, wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up the long delirious burning blue, I've overtopped the wind with easy grace, where never lark or even eagle flew. And while with silent lifting mind I've trod the vast untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touch the face of God. Thank you very much indeed, Betty. I now call upon Harry's son, Frank, to place the memorial plaque. Let us pray together. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, without whom no work of ours availeth, but who graciously accepts all honourable deeds, be pleased to bestow your blessing upon this memorial tree, which we place here beside our memorial room, to the memory of Bob Smith, Harry Thorley, and Ken Wilson. May it be acceptable in your sight, and a fitting tribute and reminder of the compassion, bravery, and outstanding service performed by those airmen, which has inspired us to this solemn act of dedication. And we ask this in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. O thou who art the Creator and lover of souls, by whom we both live and die, preserve within us the many precious memories we hold of our loved ones. We thank you for their lives and their service so nobly given. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you, Betty. I think that concludes our programme for today, ladies and gentlemen. Very kind of you to come along, make it possible for us to enjoy the day, as we all have. It's been a fantastic gathering. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Good journey.
I recognise this lady. Go away.
David, take
Yes.
a picture.
I will
Those
stop
two,
this.
will you?
Hang on.
Please, will you?
Yeah.
What about taking a picture of you? I haven't done
It's
it this
all right.
year.
Not a problem.
You no respect for your camera?
Yes, that's right.
I've got the speed over here, Darcy.
Like you.
I haven't seen him for a while, actually.
What?
Haven't seen Joe for a while. Oh, right.
Alex is gone.
Silly hat. Alex gone, is
Alex
he?
and his wife, yes.
They've had enough, had they? Love, look forward to that. I'll wrap it up so we can take it home, Dad, if you like. You've got your loudspeaker on. Thank you, that's fine.
Put it back on.
Just in case it gets up in time.